I'm gonna
So
try.
what Facebook page is this on? Because I still am not
East Coast
getting
Executives.
anything. I'll just interject.
It's the Career Seeker Show live on WPPM FM 106.5 Philadelphia, Tiff South AB. That's my nickname for Alberta, Bertolino. At Alberta Recruits, at Tiff South on Twitter. Wow, we had a great conversation with Wendy. I really appreciate her checking in and just speaking to us about some of the things that she has going on, which basically she has a ton of stuff going on, but also I thought she provided some great information regarding resumes and LinkedIn profiles and kind of how she approaches the process.
I agree. I think the most important thing that she talked about was really how important, how valuable the resume is and how underutilized it is and how a lot of people are just doing it completely the wrong way.
Right, and don't take enough time to really read about the new things that recruiters are looking for, or even all of that applicant tracking system.
Absolutely. I think one of the things to think about is that don't be cute with a resume. Like, there are still certain things that are still there are some changes and some trends, but don't start getting cute with crazy scripty fonts and colors and graphics and all that kind of stuff. Resumes are professional documents. Keep it simple, keep it straightforward, and really do think about it as an opportunity to get you to shine. And speaking of shining, one of the things that we wanted to talk a little bit about today is performance reviews.
Yes.
And this came up because it's performance review season at my day job. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I was like, this is something that people don't talk about enough until it's like about to happen. It's not something that most of us think about until we are in the process of like, oh my goodness, my review is due in 7 days. What am I supposed to do about it? So we wanted to talk a little bit about kind of what can you do over the course of an entire 6 months to a year, thinking between performance reviews basically, to get yourself ready and geared up for that next performance review. So I'm going to share 3 things that kind of basically to improve and track your work and performance way before review season comes around and you get that email from HR or your boss knocks on your door and says, hey, by the way, reviews are due, your self-assessment is due next week, where is it? So the first thing I wanted to mention is to think about and look for opportunities to take on new projects and responsibilities. One of the things that happens when you go to work every day, you're doing kind of the same thing. Sometimes jobs can be monotonous, especially if work can get monotonous on a variety of ways depending on the field that you're in. But when you take the chance to look for new things to do, new projects, even if it's not the sexiest thing in the world or the thing that you want to be doing for the rest of your life, try to find a chance to take on a new responsibility. And the way that this helps is that you have the opportunity to break up the routine in your day. So the normal day-to-day is broken up by this new shiny project that you're working on in Excel or PowerPoint or whatever format you might be doing it. But it also gives you an opportunity to learn something new and to stretch yourself a little bit. Because one of the things that's important in a performance review and in a self-assessment is the skills that you've gained, the skills that you've been able to implement, and the skills that you've been able to use day to day. And the third way I think looking for new opportunities and projects can help you is that it allows you to add value to your team. So anything that you can do at work that makes your boss look good, that makes your boss's job, day-to-day responsibilities lining up or not, how are they lining up or not lining up with your job description? So it's not necessarily right or wrong if they are or are not lining up, but you just want to know. So if your job description says you're supposed to be doing these certain things, but you're not doing those things because you're either doing more responsibility or less, that's something you need to be aware of. Because if you're doing way more than what your job description calls for, you could ask for a title change. You might be able to ask for a raise. You might be able to ask for some sort of adjusted compensation, or you can just have now a different kind of approach and perspective, or you could ask for your job description to be updated.
Sure, right, and it may even mean that a process is broken if you are doing extra work. Maybe anything within HR or finance or legal, something's holding back what you're supposed to be doing from the job description, and maybe that needs to go to the attention of your supervisor.
Absolutely, and that's one of those kinds of the unintended consequences of paying attention to the things that you're doing that someone may not even realize that you've been doing more work than you're asked to do, and it's not that they're trying to work you into the ground, but no one's paying attention.
Right.
And so that's why you have to be kind of the steward of your own job experience. Otherwise, if you could just get passed under the radar, you could be missing out on bonus opportunities, you could be missing out on a title change that could improve your resume and improve your career trajectory overall.
No, I was just gonna say that, with all of this information that you're giving about the performance reviews and keeping your job description updated, we just talked about resumes and updating resumes, so keep that also to make the parallel over to updating your resume.
There you go.
I was gonna say a poor performance review may require you to update your resume.
Also a very, very good point. But so what we're talking about today, though, we're going to reject poor performance reviews, and we're going to call into the universe positive performance reviews so that we are preparing for those good performance reviews.
Yes.
But I appreciate your point, because that is important to note. Because if you're not paying attention, you might be working yourself into a poor performance review and don't even know it.
Right.
And that's a problem, right?
Exactly.
So the last thing I want to say is exactly that point, is to keep track of your accomplishments. Because in the abstract, if you're trying to remember the 25 things that you're doing at work, and the groceries you have to pick up, and the fact that you have to go to the gym later, or you have to figure out what you're trying to eat for dinner, we lose sight of so much that we do at work and so many of the good contributions that we make. So you have to keep track of those things. And I actually have developed kind of a template to do that through my coaching site. So if you follow me on Twitter @TiffSouth, and that's Tiff with 2 F's, then you can, if you send me a message or you send me a tweet, then I can send you the link to be able to download that template. But the idea is that you don't want to rely on your own memory to keep you from, your memory will keep you from either getting money, getting the recognition that you need, and you don't want to do that. So keep track of your accomplishments. Think about pay attention to
Share, do all of that stuff to assist us in building an audience. We're just attempting to share the top job and career search information there is out there. So Tiff, here's what I'm hearing from this whole performance review thing. So if you're meeting with Tiffany Southerland and you have a poor performance review, she's going to terminate you. And then you're going to need this CNBC article I came across, and it lists the top 15 jobs that you can find anywhere. So, because
your transitions are amazing.
You like that?
I gotta say, I'm like, right, and I'm sitting here like, okay, wait, what's next?
So because you're going to be looking for a job, so you probably want to know what 15 jobs you can find anywhere. Actually, CNBC partnered with Indeed to produce this content, but the first one was a customer service rep. And the one thing I can say about, at least, especially in the Philadelphia region, and even in New York City, I've participated in some programs where the focus was customer service. There was so many customer service training programs out here that people can kind of get, I guess, become involved in, and then use that network to identify new opportunities. So customer service rep was the #1 job that you can find anywhere. The next one was sales manager, but I want to go down to number 3, non-farm animal caretakers. I'm just surprised by that. So 90% of
Number 3?
Number 3. It's number 3. Yeah, non-farm animal.
I guess
caretakers.
dog walkers.
I guess
should
dog
fit in there,
workers.
too.
So our videographer Will Martin has a dog. It's actually I guess it's the show mascot. I guess DJ could be the show mascot. Will's dog is the show mascot. He needs no walker. He walks around South Philly. If you see what is he called? He's a Shih Tzu.
Shih Tzu.
He's a Shih Tzu. If you see a Shih Tzu on the loose around Oregon Ave, you know that's the Career Seeker Show mascot, DJ. All right, so there we go. Number 4 was production planning and expediting clerks. Number 5, general and operations managers. And then 6, first-line supervisors, managers of office and administrative support workers. 7, child care workers. 8, first-line supervisors, managers of retail sale workers. Number 9, first-line supervisor, managers of mechanics, installers, and repairers. You probably get a lot of them, yeah, I would imagine so. Number 10, maids and housekeeping cleaners. Here's the thing, here's the theme of this, and it goes to 15. at the end of the day, they're all pretty much customer service jobs.
Sure,
So,
starts with that. Yeah.
right, it starts there. And,
Even what we're doing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Very valid point. Very valid point. So, so I just wanted to share that information with the career seeker listeners. I just thought that was great information because, again, if you have a poor performance review, Tiffany Southerland is going to bang you. It's over.
Or I'm going to help you get a new job
There you go.
as your career coach. So that's the way I want to be able to help you out. But I think what's interesting, and you just mentioned that these are all kind of customer service related jobs. But what we talked about with Wendy in the first part of the show is the idea of highlighting your soft skills in your professional summary section. And I think that a lot of people, we think of resumes as, and we think of our sort of our professional identities in this very technical, I can do XYZ things, but we forget about the fact that you know how to relate to people, that you have led teams, that you have been able to do certain kinds of things that are not necessarily things you were taught in school to do, or they're not something that you learn in a book, but they're things that you learn just by virtue of having had a job or been an adult in, working in any industry.
Sure. No, absolutely agree. I want to go back to Tiffany's performance review point, if I may. I just wanted to, don't be afraid to talk to your supervisor and possibly having a 6-month performance review. Because even though your company might not have that as a standard, you can do that with your own supervisor. That shows that you care about your work product and what you're doing. And then if there's anything your supervisor feels that you need to improve upon, you know that up front. You don't have to wait a whole year and you didn't know you were doing anything wrong, and then you get dinged in your performance review. So you talk to your supervisor about having it midway, even every 3 months.
Yeah.
I know that might sound like a little overkill, but you just never know.
That's a great point. And I think what that does is it forces you to stay accountable. It forces you to constantly pay attention to what's happening because, like you mentioned, getting caught off guard after a year where you're thinking everything is just fine. And one of the things that I was taught very early in my career was working hard is not enough. Right? And so if you're coming to work every day and you're doing the things that you are asked to do, that's fine, but that's not going to get you to the next level. That's not going to earn a raise in your income. That's not going to get you a bonus. It's not going to get you a salary, a title adjustment. It's not going to get you in front of those people that you talked about earlier, Alberta, that can help you get exposed to people in different places within your organization. So you don't just show up to work every day just to do your job. But even if you don't like your job, what you want to do is make your job work for you. So what are the things that you can do at work that you can get from your job that are going to help set you up for that next opportunity that you're trying to get?
Great point.
Interesting. So it's that time of the year. It was just a very big holiday for a lot of people yesterday. So I'm back here on this.
You're really on this.
And the corporate companies, but we're not going to talk about that.
So and that's my point here. According to Career Builder, the number of office romances is up to it's a 10-year high right now.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of other articles about that. It's not just Career Builder put that out, but other
Wait a minute.
websites. Yeah.
I feel like I need to whisper to talk about this. What does that mean? What are the changes that are impacting that? I'm so curious.
Well, I'll give you a brief peek inside. It says that office romances are just not happening between peers. Of those who have had office romances, more than 1 in 5, that's 29%, up from 23% last year, have dated someone in a higher position than them. A more common occurrence for women than men, 33% versus 25%. But 15% of workers who have had an office romance say they have dated someone who was their boss.
Wow. That sounds like HR nightmare.
That's a real performance review. That's a real performance review.
That's a huge. I'm not even going to start talking about that because that's a whole so many ways. There are a lot of challenges there. But I mean, if people are finding true love and people are not being manipulated, then I think that's good. But when we start, I'm not even going to get into it.
Yeah, it's hard though because we spend more time at work
than we do anywhere else.
Right.
Just about.
Well, and that could probably be the reason why 19% of office romances have involved at least one person who was married.
Oh.
A whole nother issue.
Oh, that's
right?
messy.
Yeah.
Messy. We're not messy here at Career Seekers.
No, keep it clean.
So they speak about, avoiding office gossip. Probably not a way to do that if you're having romantic relationships with the boss.
You are the gossip.
You are the
That's
gossip.
right. I know. No way to stem that.
I thought that was a really interesting read, and it circulated a lot yesterday on some of the career sites. But you know, it's just be careful at work, please. You know, it's really hard to get a job that you enjoy, and that's a really quick way to lose a job that you enjoy. So
It's one thing to like the people you work with, but
Like them that much.
be careful.
Exactly. So what's going on? You know, I wanted to do a section. What's going on your social media feeds? I know you guys are connected to a lot of different employment, career, and interview tip portals. So what are you seeing? What are people talking about in the industry right now, Alberta?
A lot of it's the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and different job fairs that are coming up for that. We hire engineers where I'm working during the day. And so there's a lot of those types of job fairs coming up in and around Philadelphia. Some of them are big conferences that tie in job fairs as well. So it's even for women, not only with STEM, but women in STEM.
You know, next week I'd like to have a, actually this is what we're going to do next week. How about that?
Yeah. Make the decision, right, you're the boss.
I would like to have a conversation. I know, you know, I spend quite a bit of time interviewing candidates for opportunities, and I know that's a primary function of your job and your job as well.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about interesting interview stories, funny interview events. I'm actually going to have a coworker of mine. Her name is Erica, a former colleague of mine. She was a consultant at a place where I was a consultant, and she's done a lot of HR work here in the Philadelphia region, but she's from Los Angeles, California, and she was telling me some unbelievable stories of things that had happened in interviews that she was conducting, or at least part of a panel on. And I just said, you know what? Let's have a little fun with it. Let's have you come in, and we'll all just share some interesting interview stories, or interesting workplace stories. We can cover the gamut.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
So you guys got a few that you'll be able to share. Yeah.
I'm sure I can.
Gotta figure out the right ones that I can share.
Right.
No,
That's really what it comes down to. What's
Take out the names.
Protect the innocent or
Please.
guilty, depending on how you look at it.
Please take out the names. We want you
No
to share
names
the
at
most
all.
interesting stories indeed.
Yes.
We want you to share the most interesting stories.
I think so. You asked about some of the things that are coming up in our feeds. One of the things that so I work at a law firm, and one of the things that is being talked about a lot is the transition between the alternative legal job market. So what's happening now is the industry is kind of diversifying the way that legal services are being provided. So it's not a traditional, not all companies who purchase legal services are using traditional law firms in the traditional way that they have been. So hiring a law firm to work on all of their matters, but are instead working to have people who are working on, this organization is working on compliance, this organization is working on reviewing documents and this kind of thing. And I mean, it may not be interesting to a lot of people, but to me it's really interesting because what it shows is, I mean, the legal law firm services, it's a very kind of traditional market. And so now that there's a change happening, he's trying to see the way that the industry is going to evolve around that and the kinds of jobs in legal technology that are going to come out of it. And not just for people, and I say the legal industry because not all people who work in the legal industry are attorneys. So it's like thinking about the possibilities for careers that will come out of that for a lot of different people in the next several years is going to be pretty interesting to see.
And that's interesting for you to see where it's gonna go and how you get candidates too.
Right,
And what they look like.
What they look like, what their expectations are of the kind of work-life balance.
Right.
And then internally, and then what will law firms start to do as far as the kind of hiring needs that they have? Will we start to shift the kind of the hiring market that we do and where we look for attorneys and things like that? Because the industry is moving in a different direction.
Technology definitely though, cybersecurity, you see that all over the
Oh
place.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so sad that I missed that when I was in law school.
You
And
can
I was
still do it.
I could, but I just remember being in class. I graduated from law school and in 2011, and I remember it was just kind of the conversation about privacy and data and all that kind of stuff was just starting, and I was just like, well, I'm not really interested in any of that kind of stuff. And then now, 5 years later, it's like the biggest thing in the market. So it's a lot of people are trying to get into that. So it's just interesting how quickly technology can change things.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with Alberta. It's not too late.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I'm still young.
You know, I sat in on a webinar today. A gentleman, I want to say his name is Hodge Flemings. He's out of Detroit. He did this webinar for the Digital Career Success Series with the National Urban League. And he spoke about what he calls the gig economy. And it basically is people that are trying to work basically jobs, and they're just stringing together consulting gigs.
Yeah.
And because at first I was thinking, you know, a bid economy. I was of that mindset, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, I see where he's headed here. And it was just a really interesting webinar. He's a dynamic person, but it was an interesting webinar about the things that you need to do if you decide that you want to branch out, kind of on your own and find your own way through this, because you really can't depend on working at a job for 27 years, 30 years.
Not
That's just
anymore,
not
not
how it works.
anymore.
I was reading something today where they said the average person will have 15 to 20 jobs in a lifetime now.
Yeah.
Does that number seem high to you?
That seems very high.
Well, if you think about, like, assuming the average person is working until they're like 65, and if the time frame now, I believe they're saying that if people are
So
leaving,
more students in college now, they're getting
Right,
busy.
and there's-
maybe not us.
and they're so, right, I think it's the people who are probably in their early to mid 20s now who will then have that 15 to 20
Right.
jobs, because people
Yeah.
are, I think they say people stay at jobs for 2 to 3 years now. And so, like, the turnover. So if you have a 40-year career and you're leaving a job every 3, maybe even 4 years, you're gonna have a lot of different jobs.
You know, I didn't think about it, but I was working on a resume today, and it's a young lady that's still in high school, but she's had 2 jobs.
Already.
Ah,
Yeah, so
okay. You know what? I'm
I
not even
guess-
thinking high
yeah,
school jobs.
when
I'm
you think
thinking
about
just
that,
going
right,
to
right.
Right.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
really interesting stuff. Well, it's been another great day here with you two.
Absolutely.
Always.
And Will.
Yes, and Will.
Yes.
And Will, we can't.
And
video-
DJ, our mascot, who's not
Yeah,
in studio with us. Right.
We may ask if we
Shout
can
out to
bring
DJ.
in there.
He's well mannered, well trained.
All right, good to know.
So again, Philly and the globe for that matter, it's the Career Seeker Show. We're here on every Wednesday, 4 o'clock on WPPM FM 106.5 Philadelphia. I'd like to thank everyone for checking in. Our guest, Wendy Weiner. Wow, how incredible was she today?
Thanks again, Wendy, if you're out there.
Thank you.
So we definitely appreciate Wendy for checking in. We definitely appreciate you, the listeners. WPPM FM Philly Cam. We appreciate you for providing the platform that allows us to do basically what we do, and that's give you the #1 source for career and job search information across the internet and across the live lines here in Philly. If you're streaming live on the Facebook broadcast, send us some messages. Let us know how we're doing. We do this thing every Wednesday, 4 o'clock. It's the Career Seeker Show. Yo, Gee, is it a wrap?
It's a rap, go.
So,